I hate the idea of people cheating in video games. It's super frustrating when you're playing, especially something like a Battle Royale, and you lose to a team that are cheating. Like right now in REDSEC, there's people glitching under the map and winning that way, which is super frustrating. But I think the design of Battlefield 6 actually encourages people to cheat, and today I cheated on a bit of the game that when the game launched I was adamant I would never do. Supposedly in REDSEC right now, this gun is the best gun in the game. It's like the meta weapon, and I saw somebody on Twitter saying how good it was, and I thought, oh, okay, I should give it a try. And I loaded up the game and saw, oh, I don't have that gun yet. Even though I've played Battlefield 6 for like 100 hours, I don't have that gun unlocked. So I looked up how to unlock it, and it's a challenge where all it said you had to do was get 300 suppressions with an LMG, and you had to get a load of hipfire damage with an LMG too. And I saw I didn't have very much of that done at all. So I loaded up Breakthrough because I thought that makes sense. Suppression, you know, you want a load of enemies in one place. You want there to be a front line so you can suppress. I had an LMG. I had everything set up on my supply class, and I started shooting at people. And I figured suppression would be shooting at someone who's behind cover to try and keep them behind cover. And I'd heard some people say, oh, it has to be over 30 meters away. You have to hit cover that someone's hiding behind. All the bullets have to go over their head. Some people saying you had to not hit enemies. Other people saying you had to hit enemies. But regardless, I tried all of these things, and progression was insanely slow. I was getting like one suppression sometimes in a life. Sometimes I wouldn't get any. Sometimes I managed to get 4 or 5. But it was painfully slow. And you needed 300 of these in order to complete it. And I was playing like entire games where sometimes I'd get like 10. Maybe I'd manage to suppress 10 enemies, which would mean to unlock this LMG that I just wanted to try out in REDSEC, I was going to have to try and suppress 300 enemies, and if I was doing 10 per game on average, that would mean playing 30 games of the multiplayer just on purpose missing enemies in order to unlock this stupid gun. And spoilers, by the way, the gun isn't even that good. It's fine, but it's like kind of just as good as the other LMGs. I wouldn't worry about unlocking this at all. But regardless, this is a crazy thing to have to do to unlock a gun in a game, because bear in mind, I could at least go into the multiplayer and do this in Breakthrough. Me getting 10 per game was, you know, not too bad. 30 games, okay, that's a lot of games, but you could imagine somebody doing it and unlocking the gun that way. If you just had the free-to-play side of the game, so you just had REDSEC, I've got no idea how you would do this. It would take absolutely forever, because to get these suppressions, you kind of need to be missing the enemies on purpose. And if you're doing that in something like REDSEC, you are going to get killed. I'd hate to think what it'd be like to drop into a game, go grab an LMG, find an enemy who's hiding behind cover, and then miss them enough until you get a suppression. And by the way, you can only get one suppression on an enemy every about 10 or 20 seconds. It takes a while to reset. And then while you're messing around trying to do that, they're probably going to kill you. And obviously in a Battle Royale, if you die, you're going to have to go back to the lobby and then spend ages coming back to a game. And there's no solos in the game, and there's no way to not have squad fill on. You can't turn squad fill off in REDSEC, so you're going to be annoying whoever you're going into the game with. You know, you going into a game and purposefully missing the enemies isn't ideal for your squad mates. So what I'm saying is, this challenge sucks. Like, it's a really, really annoying challenge to do, to get a gun that is supposedly like the meta gun in REDSEC. Now, there is another way to get that gun. Well, there's another way to get that challenge completed, and that's to do it in Portal, in a server that has been expressly created so you can complete that challenge. And that's what I ended up doing this morning. I spent hours trying to get it the proper way, but the progress was so slow and it was so boring to do. But somebody said, oh, I've just managed to do it like super quickly using this Portal server, and that's what I did. The Portal code, if you want to do it, is YT77T. It's made by a content creator called B-Man. Apparently he made this server, and basically it's just a rush server where the bots don't move and they can't hurt you, and you have unlimited ammo in a magazine, so you can just find a group of the bots where they spawn and sit there shooting over their head and get all of this completed in a few minutes. Now, obviously, this isn't the only challenge that unlocks weapons or attachments or whatever that people might want to do, that absolutely sucks. Like, as soon as the game came out, people realized there was one challenge for doing something like you needed 200 kills, headshots over 200 meters with a sniper rifle to unlock one of the sniper rifles or something like that. And that was absolutely ridiculous. And people were making Portal servers just to try and get that done and not doing it properly. But then people realized the sniper rifle you unlock sucks anyway, so it didn't really matter too much. And I know EA have already kind of acknowledged this problem. They've said that they're making some of the challenges simpler, although they still haven't done that yet. And I think it's a real problem now that REDSEC's out, because you could, if you were being cynical, argue that maybe EA are making these challenges super difficult, so you have to go into Portal if you want to get the good weapons. And the only way to go into Portal is if you buy Battlefield 6. So to get the good weapons in a free-to-play game, you need to go and buy the sort of 60 quid version of the game, so you can go into a stupid server and do some completely arbitrary thing against bots. But you know, that makes EA a lot of money. But it has so many negative effects on the game. I just can't believe this is true. Obviously, one of the negative effects is it's basically destroyed Portal already. I still hope that they'll turn it around and they'll fix it, but if you look at what Portal servers have any activity, it's pretty much all people finding ways to do XP farming or challenge farming and stuff like that. People aren't playing interesting game modes, people aren't setting up community servers. All you see whenever you go to search in what are people playing on Portal is just this kind of garbage. Plus, it's just a really bad experience. Like, it's not a fun way to unlock a weapon. Even if you're doing it on a Portal server and it doesn't take too long, it takes like 20 minutes instead of taking hours, it's not a fun thing to do. You're still just doing essentially a job so you can unlock a weapon that you might not necessarily need in a game, but you might want in order to be competitive. And finally, and I think probably the biggest problem, this is going to lead to a massive splitting of the player base for Battlefield 6, because while I have people in chat telling me, hey, you can go onto a Portal server and do this challenge this way, normal people playing the game aren't going to do that. Normal people who are playing the game probably don't know anything about Portal in the first place, but they're not going to realize that there are specific Portal servers set up so you can complete these special challenges. They're just not going to have those guns. And if any of these guns do end up becoming like the proper meta, they end up becoming super powerful at some point and they're locked behind a stupid challenge like this, you're going to have on one side the people who play the game a lot and are part of the online community and know what they're talking about and know how to unlock them really, really easily, and you're going to have other people that will essentially just never unlock those guns, or it will take them months and months before they unlock the guns. And when stuff like that happens, it's an absolute disaster for the game, because then the more casual audience, the people who are just playing the game to have fun, are going to think that the game feels unfair because other people have better guns than they do that they don't really have access to, and then they're just going to stop playing, and then the player population will drop. It's a similar thing to what we saw in Warzone. You know, I have a terrible time whenever I get someone new into Warzone. I get like a real life friend to come play Warzone. Maybe they've never played it before, or they haven't played it for a long while, and then they're saying, okay, what's the best guns to use? And I'm like, oh, you can use this gun. And they're like, oh, I don't have that yet. Okay, you can unlock it by doing this armory thing. And they're like, what attachment should I use? It's like, okay, well, you don't have the attachments that you need to use because you need to level the gun up first, and that's going to take a few hours. And that sucks. Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to be having to invest hours into the game just to get to the point where they're on a level playing field with the people that they're fighting against. So what's the solution to this? Well, the obvious thing is just make the challenges unlock cosmetics. Just make it so you get skins and weapon skins and camos and stuff that doesn't affect the gameplay by doing these challenges. Then people who want to do them can do them, while some people will still be in a rush because they feel the need to complete a game as soon as it comes out. Most people won't be bothered whether it takes weeks or months or it just takes a few hours. It just completely changes the whole thing. And suddenly these challenges, you know, if they give some weird looking camo, then it's a little bit of a badge of honor for some people where it's like, wow, that person did that crazy thing. They actually got 300 suppressions. They actually got all that hip fire damage with the LMG or whatever it is. That's cool, but it's fine because, you know, if I see someone who's done something like that, done some crazy grind, I just think to myself, yeah, that wouldn't be me. I'm never going to do that because that's absolutely crazy. Kind of the same way the mastery camos work in Call of Duty. I think all of the weapon unlocks and the attachment unlocks and stuff like that should just be unlocked by leveling up normally, and I don't think it should take too long to unlock everything. I understand not wanting to give people everything as soon as they load up the game because it's a bit overwhelming. It's good for people just to try a couple of weapons, and then as they unlock more, it gives them a bit more variety. But I think you could go through that entire process in like 5 hours, and then you'll probably be used to the game and then be able to have access to everything, instead of it taking however many hours it takes at the moment. I don't normally like making videos where I'm saying, oh, this is what the game should do, because obviously the developers know best, they're the ones making the game. I'm really just saying I don't like the system that they've put in, and I don't understand the system that they've put in. I don't understand why they've made these ridiculous challenges so hard. If they did want to stick with challenges, if they wanted to have a system of challenges that were fun, in my mind, the best way to do would be to have ridiculous things like, oh, get a kill over 200 meters with an LMG, but you should only have to do it once. So it's like a single thing that's not going to take you ages of doing the same thing over and over again. It's not going to get super boring. It's just a feat, an accomplishment. That would be super cool. And in Battlefield, you could imagine there being tons of different stuff like that. I still think that should just give cosmetic rewards, you know, like the Rendezvous. There's a dog tag for doing that. That's pretty cool. That makes sense. But yeah, just have challenges where you have to do something once. And why don't they do that? Well, that's when we get back to being cynical. Probably because they want more player time. They want you to be engaged in grinds, because then you're playing the game, their stats look better, you're maybe more likely to buy stuff from the store, you're less likely to start playing other games, you're less likely to get bored of their game. It's a really sort of cynical ploy to just waste your time so you're playing their game instead of playing somebody else's, and I hate that. Instead, you should play the game because you want to, because it's enjoyable, not because they've given you some arbitrary stupid job to do and you get FOMO if you don't do it. Anyway, little bit of a rant today. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments below. Do you even think it's a problem if people go into Portal to unlock stuff? Am I now a dirty cheater that can't ever be redeemed? Who knows? If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next one. Goodbye.